Hi there. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jackie Murray. I have been a teacher for over 30 years and I've taught K through 8 technology for about 15 years. I teach online classes. I work with faculty to infuse technology into their programs. I work with administrators at schools to align content with standards, Common Core or state standards, whatever those are. And I'm very excited to be part of the technology world. There's so much that it can offer students for education. So we're starting today. We're going to be starting. This is our first video for our K through 5 technology curriculum. Every week I will have a different video for you that depending upon the age level it is. I'll have different ones for K1 and 2. Short ones, probably 10 to 15 minutes. Grades 3, 4, and 5, they're grouped together into one. So you'll watch the one, or you can just fast forward to the part that deals with your portion. It's about 20 minutes, so they're each about 10 minutes each, 7 minutes, something like that. But we're going to cover all the pieces you need to know, and where necessary, I'll show you how to do a certain skill. Now, if I skip past one that you want more information on, please just leave a note on the discussion forum in our wikis, and I'll either get in touch with you or I'll create a video and post it on our stream. These videos, as I create one, you're going to find in the stream for what we did today. That's where you'll look for them. Same as we did last year, but last year it was all written. This year it's going to be all video. We're not going to write stuff and put it there anymore. So if you need more clarification, it could be in your book because you have to have the K through 5 curriculum to be in this wiki. So it could be in the book for you. And I have some limitation on what I can share online from the book because it's published copyrighted information, but you'll have the information. So I'll be able to say, go to this page and look at that if it's something like that. As far as the skills though, if it's a skill you don't know, I can probably quickly put together a quick video for you to show you how to do it. All right, but this video today is going to be to introduce you to the curriculum. Make sure you understand what its intention is for the rest of the school year. It's one lesson a week for 32 weeks. Obviously, that gives you a couple weeks leeway from the start to the finish, or, you know, if one week takes a little longer, one lesson takes a little longer than you might have planned because of inquiry from your classroom or slightly different needs for your classroom, you can take an extra week or two. You have it in the curriculum. It's built that way to give you that sort of time frame. So you can stretch things out a little bit. There also sometimes you'll be able to skip a lesson, but be cautious about that because each lesson includes certain skills that your students need. Even if they don't particularly want that skill or maybe that project, what they're doing there will be scaffolded into future lessons. So it'll all be part of their cumulative learning. So be very cautious about skipping any lessons. It's better not to finish than to skip an inside lesson and then pick it up the next year. The nature of this is we spiral back and review lessons every year. So first grade, we're going to spiral back and review everything that they learned in kindergarten. Now it goes fast because kids get this stuff. So we're just making sure they're remembering things. We're just making, yep, we're still going to make you put both hands on the keyboard. And now we're going to make you put them on their own side in first grade. But we're just reminding them of the right things to do. So for some reason you can't finish part of it, if it's a chunk at the end of a year, I'd say start with that chunk before going into the new school year. It will go faster because your kids, every year, their brains are different. They learn things a different way and faster. They make connections that they didn't the earlier year. So it's not like if you miss 2 months of a lesson, you're going to have to take 2 months of the new school year to do it. You're probably going to get it done in a couple weeks. Okay, so let's get started. First, I'm gonna get this going. And I will also post this slideshow for you. A lot of it you won't need, but especially in this one, there will be certain things that you need. First of all, you want to understand, and your students might want to understand too. Why do you have to learn technology? Now, kids think they already know it, so they don't get it. Why are you teaching me technology? I know it better than you do. And you might think, but I did fine with my lesson plans before all this tech stuff got thrown at me. Why do I have to learn it? So here's why. Mostly because technology in the classroom is really no longer a choice. Classrooms are now tech infused. It is one of the tools. It would be like saying we don't need a paper and pencil in the classroom. We don't need a desk in the classroom, because those were new at one point. But now technology is kind of new, not very new, but it's not one of those things you can choose anymore. It is there. It's the tool to be used. And if you want to reach students, you go where they are. Tech is where students are. They're using it from I well before kindergarten. Parents are giving them an iPad and saying, entertain yourself. They are using technology. So if you don't meet them where they are with their learning, they will get bored. And no matter how exciting your non-tech lesson is. So you use technology. It's the way they learn, the way they want to learn, what grabs their attention. It's also integral to the standards, Common Core standards, ISTE standards. They all see technology as that tool. It's not a skill anymore. It's not like, okay, we're going to go to tech class and we're going to learn technology. We're going to go to PE and we're going to learn how to jump and hit balls. And we're going to go to Spanish. We're going to learn how to speak Spanish. Technology isn't one of those. It is now a tool. It's like note taking. You don't learn note taking and then when you're out of English language arts, you don't use it anymore. You learn note taking to use it in all your classes: history, Spanish, technology, science. You learn note taking so you use it in all those. Technology is the same. You learn technology so you can use it in all your classes to deliver the content. And that's what the Common Core standards addresses. Let's go back a second. Addresses. It is seen as a tool. It's not a skill anymore that you learn technology class, you learn a skill, and that's what it is. It's the tool. You learn tech so it can be the tool in all of your classrooms. ISTE's the same way. So that's the way it is. That's why you learn it, because it's not going away. So what can tech do better than anything else? Well, first of all, it can collaborate, publish, and transfer knowledge better than anything else. Think if you tried to collaborate on a paper document. You all huddle around one sheet of paper and one person's yelling it out what to write while the other person's trying to write and someone else changes their mind. But collaborating in technology, you open up a Google Doc, everyone writes their part, it all shows up there. Any number of tools are exactly like that, where everyone can collaborate on doing that. Padlet, all sorts of these things. Lots of people get together, fill in the blanks, and it shows everyone's work. So that's collaboration. Plus, it'll track who did what, and you lets you go back to other times, other iterations of the document if you need to. So that's the collaboration. Publishing. Well, publishing used to be that we would print. That was publishing. But printing is for you have a printed piece of paper and now you put it on the wall in the classroom or you send it home with the student and you can't share it very well. So publishing now is publishing, so it's the Gutenberg press sort of publishing, so everyone can benefit from it. You publish to the web, you publish to a blog, you publish to the school's website, so that everyone can benefit from everyone's knowledge. Then we all grow from that. So that's publishing. So, and then transfer of knowledge. Once it's published, everyone can share in that knowledge. So these are things tech does better than anything else because it's just so easy to group around one tech piece and do it together. So when you say teach tech, what does that mean? Does that mean you're going to say, okay, your teacher wants you to know how to use Animoto in a project, so we're going to learn Animoto today? Well, no, that's not how we do it anymore. That's no. Uh, Animoto is a great tool, but we don't learn Animoto to apply it to a project. We have a project we want to do, and we use Animoto to deliver that project. So it's sure you might start the project in the computer lab and say, okay, we're going to work on a history project about the Civil War today. And rather than writing a report or doing a big poster, we're going to create a video. So let's talk. And then you start creating it and you learn Animoto as it's part of the project. Does that make sense? It's kind of a mindset. It's a little different mindset. And it does expect, and Common Core expects, that if you're the tech teacher, you are part of a team teaching tech to apply to classes. So the classroom teacher is part of your team. If you're the tech integration specialist, that's already done. What you're doing is you're helping the classroom teacher deliver Animoto for their Civil War project. But if you're the tech lab teacher and the kids come to your lab and they sit down and now you're going, okay, let's learn Animoto, that teacher needs to be part of your project. You're not going to grade that project. The teacher is. So she or he has to be there to make sure it comes out the way she's looking for. So that's a little bit of a difference. Okay, it's a tool in the big education picture. It's not a skill like learning Spanish, learning pottery. And then you try to figure out, well, okay, where am I going to use pottery? Well, technology, you know exactly how you want to use it. You just use the different tech tools to do it. The moment teach tech, so kids are teaching themselves. If we don't step in and show them the right way to do it, the kids are going to do it their own way. It's not like they will sit there and please teach me technology. Can I learn it today, Mom? Okay, I know you didn't have time yesterday. Can we do it today? It doesn't work that way. They teach themselves. So if you're not going to teach them the right way to be a digital citizen online, they're going to teach it to themselves, and it likely is not going to be the right way. Have you seen kids who are used to doing the iPads, like this little boy here, and now they sit at a keyboard and they start with their thumbs? That's how they think you keyboard. Now, if you don't tell them, no, we do it like this, then they won't know. So the moment kids start using technology, which, like I said, is well before kindergarten, you need to teach them tech. So we're showing them the right way to use a skill they're already using. Okay, there are 4 parts to every technology lesson, and you'll see me talking about this in all of the 32 lessons. I try to bring these out. So problem solving is one. There's a section of each lesson that talks about problem solving. And when the student sits down at the computer, they're obviously going to have, I got to put this back here so I can look you in the eye. There we are. That's better. Obviously, there are going to be lots of techie problems. You face them yourself too. And hopefully by now you've realized there's only about 20 or 25 that happen in your classroom that happen most of the time. So you know how to solve those. You want the kids to know those too. So as they have a problem, you don't race in to solve their problem. You teach them how to solve it. You Once they've learned it that first time, you refer them back. Okay, you learned that yesterday. You remember what we did? And then they'll think, and maybe they forgot, and you can refresh them, but you'll go through that. The first time they really don't listen. They're just waiting for you to solve it. The second time they kind of hear you, but they're still unclear. The third time, okay, they're kind of thinking, I guess I can try this. And then the fourth time they are going to think about it when they have the problem, but we're up to 4 already. The 5th time, they're going to teach their friend how to do it. And that's very authentic learning. Okay, your monitor doesn't work. I know how to do that. I can help you with that. Because his hand's up and he's waiting, and you have 5 hands up because it's a 2nd grade class. Kindergarten, you've got 20 hands up. But you are going to engage the children to help themselves and each other. By the end of 5th grade, you want them to know the 25 most common problems. We will go through them in the curriculum. You'll find them out. They're listed in some of the books, so you'll see that list in your textbook. Those are the ones the kids have to know, because it makes life much easier. They're going to go to their classroom, and their teacher's not going to know how to solve those. So they're not going to be able to do their project if they don't know these solutions. You need to teach them. They're going to go home and have homework, and something's going to go wrong, and it's going to be one of those 25 problems. And thank goodness the child knows how to solve it, because mom or dad probably don't. Once this generation of kids grow up, they might, but so they problem solving. Teach them problem solving. Don't do it for them, teach them. So vocabulary, very Common Core. Use the right words with them and make sure they understand them. You'll know they understand them if they start using them. So when you're talking about the mouse, use mouse. When you're talking about the cursor, call it a cursor. Don't call it a mouse. When you talk using headphones, call them headphones, not earmuffs or whatever else kids call them. So when you're talking about the monitor, it's not a screen. And what is a screen? Why is that different? And why is it not called a computer? So you're going to use those domain-specific words, and you're going to expect the students to use them and understand them. Every lesson. There's a list in every lesson of words, and we'll go over them. They're not hard. You just have to make sure you use them, because they're hard for the kids. They've never heard them before. So you want to make sure that they know them. Okay. Digital citizenship. This is so important, because if not you, who? They're going on the internet. They think it's anonymous. They think it doesn't live by any of the other rules. So if you don't tell them there are guidelines to follow on the internet, who will tell them? So it's very important. Every single lesson in this curriculum where they go on the internet, we talk about digital rights and responsibilities. Age appropriate. Kindergartners, a different way than 5th grade, 6th grade, middle school, a different way. By middle school, there's about 18 digital citizenship topics that we cover. Kindergarten, there's 5, I think. I'd have to look at my list. But they're much fewer. They're age appropriate. They're things like, don't give out personal information. Stay in the digital neighborhood. Don't go around to all the fun-looking links that are around it. They're those types. But you're going to remind the students every time that they're on the internet. You're not going to get tired of reminding them. You're not going to think that they've heard this so many times. If they've heard it so many times, then ask them, okay, what are we doing? We're going on the website. What's the first thing we do? And have them tell you if you get tired of telling them. And you should have them tell you. Figure out creative ways to make it interesting, but you keep reinforcing that. They will get it. Then the kindergartners, by the time they're in 4th grade, they will not think twice of the fact that they have to follow certain rights and responsibilities when they're online. It's going to be like digital neighborhood. They don't get in cars with strangers. Who does that? By the time they're 4 years old, who does that? They all learned it. So digital rights and responsibilities, digital citizenship, keyboarding. And I should say, well, let me cover keyboarding, and I'm going to back up a minute. Keyboarding. Every time they sit at the computer, they're going to use good habits, age appropriate. In kindergarten, keyboarding, all we want them to do is get their hands on the keyboard. We're happy. They don't even have to get the right side. Just get them on the keyboard, not thumbs. You want hands. I don't worry about home row. I don't worry about which side. I do start with having them start remembering where keys are, because it takes a while to remember that. You start in kindergarten, by 1st grade, we're still kind of chipping away at it, but we're not worrying too much. We just know that kids start learning because you keep going. So I use programs that remind them. The A key's in one spot, and it's always the same spot on the keyboard. Might as well learn where that is. So keyboarding. Now, every one of these, keyboarding, digital citizenship, problem solving, and vocabulary, you get the parents, your fellow teachers, to be your partners in this, because anytime that child sits at a computer at home or in the classroom, they do it the right way. They sit correctly, they use good habits, and there'll be pictures in the curriculum book to show the right way. They do it the right way, and that's what you reinforce with them. And then the parents do and the teacher does until the child, they can't sit anywhere without, okay, I'm at a computer, so now I do it the right way. It becomes habit. Okay, so that's every lesson. Here's each lesson. So let me go through these parts. We will also go through these parts with each lesson we're doing. But here's the vocabulary I talked about. Here's the problem solving. So you'll get a list of the vocabulary, a list of the problem solving. These are the ones you want to make sure your students understand. And you won't say, okay, what do you do if your volume doesn't work? You could actually, occasionally, you could do that. Just run them down and say, okay, I got 5 problems for you. That could be kind of fun. Make it a competition. But otherwise, you'll do it as the students are working authentically within the lesson. And same with vocabulary. When they talk about the thing on the mouse, and it's that thing on the mouse that's, oh, let me get my mobile mouse. That's between the buttons, you know, that thing. Well, what's it called? What is that called? Mouse wheel. So that's how you're going to teach it, by authentically using it. They'll eventually figure out that for each lesson, there's certain words that they're going to get right. PC and a Mac, 2 differences, because they'll say, my computer at home doesn't look like this. Well, let's talk about that. Why doesn't it? And lesson 1 is a great time to do all that talking and comparing and sharing ideas. It's a great time to do that. Big idea. This is what you really want to cover. So that's for you to know. You can share it with the students. It's whatever you do in your school. If you share big ideas, then this is a great one. I used to post them on the wall in the classroom. So anytime parents came in or the classroom teacher came in, she could, okay, the big idea for 3rd grade this week is this. And she'd know. And sometimes it took a couple weeks to get through one big idea. That's perfectly fine. Okay. Time required roughly, and they're all geared for maybe 45 minutes because they include projects. It's not all tech training for 45 minutes. It's a lot of integrated problems from the class, projects from the classroom, PBL. And then you have NETs and Common Core standards satisfied, because you probably need that for school. The essential question. Then we have materials and teacher prep. These you want to look at to see, okay, do I have this stuff? Lesson 1, you definitely want to test all equipment to see if it all works. But if you forget that, or you don't have time, or it breaks in the middle of class, that's fine. Then ask the students, so what do we do? I think this lesson's from 3rd grade. Is that what this one is? Oh, I cut it off. I think it is, though. I think it's 3rd grade, which is fine. So if the computer breaks and the student doesn't know, okay, class, we have a problem over here. How should Joni handle it? And then ask the students to help you figure it out. They will, believe me. So teacher prep as much as you can. If your class is not 45 minutes, that's why you have these lines. So you check off what you've done, and you leave what isn't checked off, then you know you haven't accomplished it. Steps, so you go through all these steps, and as you complete them, check them off. Here's your assessments. A lot of times it's just anecdotal observation, a formative assessment. So you're watching and observing. And sometimes it's going to be that they joined in the class conversation. You asked, okay, what kind of computer do you have at home? What's the difference between your Mac at home and this PC? And Joey never raises his hand and never participates. Well, the assessment for him isn't going to be too great on join the class conversation, which is a an important feature of Common Core speaking and listening. So you'll want to take Joey aside and say, you know, one of the things we want to learn in class is to participate. Everyone benefits from your knowledge. So sometimes it's that simple, just these sorts of assessments. Sometimes they're a quiz. So you'll see. Troubleshooting. Um, all the books don't have troubleshooting because a lot of times troubleshooting ends up just like problem solving. So I think at a certain point, some of the books did away with them. So, but if yours has it, then look at these and you'll kind of see that this one is kind of interesting. You have a print book and need a website, and a lot of the websites are written out in the print book, but sometimes they aren't. They either know it was already mentioned earlier in the book, or it's a really easy one, like go to Voki and it's voki.com. So you can either find it, do a Control F and search the document, or you can send us post a question on the wiki discussion board, or you can email me at askatechteacher@gmail.com and I'll find it for you. Just tell me what page it's on and what grade level you're talking about. And the other thing is sometimes links die. A lot of times they die. I can't believe I posted a blog post the other day and I checked it before. I usually do on a Saturday. It went up 6 days later. 3 of the links had already died. There's just no way around it. So when you put links anywhere, they just die. So that's part of learning. That's part of technology. So you accept it and show the students how you handle that. A lot of the links have options, but if you can't find them, once again, email me. I'll find one for you, or leave us a note on the discussion board. Someone will say, yeah, I noticed that and this is what I used. So you'll get help. Extension, if you have students who are through fast, then here's some ideas on what you can do. And then more information if you want to dig deeper is down here. Okay, then, oh, I should mention, these are at the beginning of the lesson. These are at the end. So 2 different parts. Okay, here's each book includes a list of all the skills and then what grade they're taught in, just to kind of lay it out for you so you get an idea. You can see the ones I told you are in every lesson: vocabulary, problem solving, keyboarding, and digital citizenship. You see how they're in every single lesson? Internet is kind of digital citizenship too. What about this? Graphics and visual learning. That's in every lesson. Google Earth. Turns out it's in every lesson. You use Google Earth so many different ways in the classroom. It's amazing. So this just gives you a nice layout. So if you're thinking, well, we don't have Publisher at school, this is where it would impact the lessons. And there are options for these almost every single time. If you don't have robotics, these are where it would impact those lessons. So then you'd want to look and say, okay, what was I supposed to learn about technology in these robotics lessons, and what can I use instead? Now, if you need help with that, I will help you to figure out how to. No robotics, but we'll do coding instead. Okay, how-tos. Couple things you want to remember. Teach the lessons in the order presented. Don't jump around. Even if your class is working on a project that's perfect for PowerPoint and the curriculum has you in Excel, there are reasons why they're in the order presented. So you need to then take your project and figure out how to do it in Excel rather than jump around. So it's the way it is. That's a little different in middle school, but we don't have these videos for middle school. But if you also teach middle school, you'll find that changes in middle school. Okay, don't worry if you have to stretch a lesson an extra week. There is time. Include the grade level teacher in what you're doing. Co-teach as much as possible. It makes technology a tool rather than a class, and that's what you want it to be. You don't want the classroom teacher to go on a rest break or a meeting or something. You want her in there teaching with you. and then expect students to be risk takers. When they don't know how to solve a problem and their hand is up and you're saying, we solved that last week, they need to be a risk taker and try to think back to how they solved it the last time, or a new program that they're in and they've never used the program before, but they've used other programs. So, okay, I'll look around the screen. Is there something that says start? And they'll be a risk taker and they'll try to take care of things themselves. Encourage risk taking. So a typical lesson, my typical lessons, the students come in the class and they probably start with keyboarding. The reason I do that is because I need time to wrap up whatever else I was doing. My classes tend to be back to back. So I'm finishing something up or taking attendance or whatever I'm doing while the students come in, sit down, start keyboarding for 10 minutes. It is a nice, if you're into responsive classroom, it's kind of a nice way to just warm the class up to their new environment. It doesn't warm them up to each other like responsive classroom likes, but it does warm them up to the idea, okay, I'm not in math anymore, now I'm in technology. So I start them with that. And then when I'm done and they're done, then we either finish up something we were working on or we start a new project. Because if we're finishing up a project they were already on, they're also almost on autopilot with that also. Because they know they started that PowerPoint slideshow or that slideshow in Google Docs, or they started that report they were collaborating with each other on, and now you've told them this is a 4-week project and this is what you're supposed to accomplish, and they go to work on it. And then you're there as the guide, not the sage. So you're there guiding them. So then you say, okay, get started on your project. I'm here to help you. If it's a new project, you probably have to do a little bit of teaching just to get them started on what they're doing, and conversation with them. Make sure they understand the purpose of their new project. If it's the end of a grading period, I like to go through that scope and sequence in the front of each book and then check off what they've accomplished. I actually have it on a wall in the classroom. So the students then, we go through and say, okay, did we do this? Did we do this? And it reminds them of how much they've learned. And it updates my wall chart for anyone who comes in and wonders what the heck do they do in this classroom. So I take 5 or 10 minutes to do that. And then I go on with preparing a new project or working on a second one. For a good note for your younger students, since so many skills are new to them, I try to give them 2 weeks on every project. Certainly some take even longer than that, but kindergarten and first, draw a picture, put your name on it, write a sentence using good grammar and spelling. And I give them 2 weeks because the first week's to just do it, but the second week is to remind them of the skills they learned. And I'll ask someone, okay, can you tell us what we do? What tool do we use? How do we make this? How do I fix the spelling in that sentence? How do I capitalize the first word? And I'll have someone helping. And then we do it and they get it done so fast. So with your kindergarten, first grade, by second grade, maybe not. I'll leave that up to you. And there's probably enough time in the book schedule for doing that. Not always, especially by second grade, there isn't. Kindergarten first, there definitely is. Now you'll have some students who get finished early. They do. That's the way it is. So have a internet start page like this one I have, and let's close that ad out. And I have a tab for each grade, and the kids know, okay, I have it right up here on my toolbar here. This one in my case has fallen off, but it's down here. And they'll fall off there sometimes. So you want to show them how to fix this. Okay, I'll click and drag and drop that up here. So it's back up there. Okay, so they'll click that and it brings this page up. They know how to do this. They go on the internet, they click this, they bring up the internet start page, they go to their tab. So they know which tab they are. If I'm second grade and maybe they're in third grade. And then you'll tell them, okay, if you finish early, you can go to any of the links under research, any of the links under landforms. You can go any of the links under bookmarks. You'll tell them where they can go, and they'll do that. Then they finish their project, they, without disrupting their neighbor, without asking you for help, and you're in the middle of helping someone else. They'll, okay, I'm all done, I've done everything required. I go here, I go to my tab, and I pick one of these, and I go to work. And it'll include their math program, Everyday Math, if that happens to be your program, or Singapore Math. So they could go there and do their math homework. That's fine. I don't care. They're using the internet, they're using their skills. So I make that available somehow. Bring up my tab again. Somehow, and bring up myself. Somehow, it takes a little bit of training, but kindergartners get it. They're very proud of themselves when they get it. First graders are very proud of themselves when they get it early in the school year. By the end of the school year, most of them have it. So get them trained that this is how you do it. You start the class, you end the class, we have the spot in the middle, and everyone knows exactly what they're doing. And this is all about learning. Okay, so that's my typical lesson. And that's really about it. If you need to contact me, you can email me here. You can find me through our wikis. And that should do it. That's a lot of material. I meant to try to keep it at 20 minutes, and I'm at 36, but you have everything you need to get started. I promise you that the future ones will be a little quicker. Maybe not the early future ones, because I want to go into enough detail for you to get you used to how it works, and then they go pretty quick. All right, guys. I'm very excited for a new school year with all of you. I can't wait to hear how everything's going. Please definitely weigh in with me. Tell me how the projects go, and tell me how your kids are doing. It's very exciting. All right. I will talk to you later. Have a great week.